This is good. This is good. Thank you guys for joining us for this, Natilla. I'm so happy that you and Leah joined us on set. She was such a great sport. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We will see you on the next edition of Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn. Take care.
Bye.
You did great. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, you made it to the end of our video. If you'd like to reach out, email us at letschat@tanyawilliamslightborn.com. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more exciting sessions. Cheers.
Good man, we're gonna sit down and have a Coke, yes?
You've seen the shows.
Whoa, you want to tell me you don't let to be a mommy?
You lie to me, sir. That's why on your mouth, sir. Don't you understand me?
Sir.
Now, find out where some of them are today.
Some guys that smoke like 4 times a day. It is a good program.
Curious onlookers swarming the scene of a shooting incident on Jerome Avenue.
Shock treatment, where are they now?
He just was caught up in the wrong things out there.
You want me to sit on you? Get it together.
Tuesday at 8 on the ZNS Network.
By giving unconditionally, not expecting anything in return, I thought was a wonderful way of showing this love. And I believe that it is love that truly draws people. And so I thought we could cover a lot more people by feeding. Volunteers, you know, they have truly been sold.
My passion is to help, and I thank God for what I can do through the help of Bahamas Feeding Network.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, a European-based cruise ship not permitted to disembark on Grand Bahama today. We'll tell you why. Plus, what is the Grand Bahama Port Authority doing about dilapidated buildings in the city? We have the details. And the nation's leader investigating an Abaco company for not paying Bahamian workers. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Simone Davis. Thank you so much for watching. Topping the news tonight, a European-based cruise ship scheduled to come to Grand Bahama was not permitted to disembark today due to serious health concerns. The Arcadia, a 42-day cruise ship, departed Southampton on January 3rd with some 1,800 passengers. However, unconfirmed reports indicate that there were several COVID-19 cases on board. Unconfirmed reports say several passengers were also placed in quarantine in the interest of health and the safety of all concerned. Our ZNS News team reaching out to the Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, for further details on this development.
The itinerary was to stop in Grand Bahama. En route to Grand Bahama, we got word from CAFA that we were having some challenges with the ship, with the COVID numbers. But that ain't really the main problem. There is a gastrointestinal bug on board the ship, and it is of great concern to us. They landed in Grand Bahama for humanitarian reasons, maybe fuel and water, but there is no interaction with the crew or passengers. And they did not get the landing permission for anyone to come off the boat. Our infectious disease and surveillance unit is monitoring the situation. They are not allowed to come. No crew or no one is allowed to come off the boat. The next stop for that ship, the Acadia, is Florida. And the CDC is informed. And the CDC will make the determination because their final destination was Florida.
Now, once again, passengers were not allowed to leave the vessel. We understand the vessel departed late this afternoon with its final destination to South Florida. In other news, residents on Grand Bahama continue to voice their concern on dilapidated buildings like the International Bazaar that remains an eyesore. In an exclusive interview with the president of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Roll, we hear just how the Port Authority is seeking to address this issue. Jolanda Thompson-Everest has more.
It has remained an eyesore for the island of Grand Bahama for years. And in 2022, the International Bazaar went up in flames 4 times. The question became even louder. What is being done with the International Bazaar and other dilapidated buildings? While the port president says the answer is not that simple, but some headway is being made to address this issue. The International Bazaar is owned by a group of companies, but since the closure of the Royal Oasis, the once popular shopping mecca turned into a dilapidated building that eventually became a home for vagrants. However, in speaking with Port President Ian Roll, he says that a conversation took place last year on the sale of the property, but there has been no update since the offer.
It's not going to be, that's a very complicated process, and basically due to the fact that you have a number of different owners. So for buildings that are still structurally sound, you cannot go there and even demolish those sites. It'd be against the law to do such a thing. So you have to work with those owners. Hopefully they put money into the building structures or they themselves demolish it. At the same time, you want to encourage the owners to look at opportunities that would present itself to them.
He is encouraging owners to sell their properties if they have no interest in remodeling them. Roll revealed that the Grand Bahama Port Authority has done its part to legally amend the law to demolish dilapidated buildings on the island.
In subsequent years, presented the amendments again. So we are encouraged to know that this administration considering our proposed amendments because they see the challenge that Freeport has, and if we don't do anything now, it'll only get worse in the near future.
So just what was presented to the government?
For instance, we might not wait until the building is structurally unsound anymore. Based on the aesthetics of the building, or if it's a safety issue, we might have the right to go in, demolish, and then liquidate the asset or the land and have funds paid for the demolition and then the balance paid to the owner of the property.
He says he will continue to follow up on the status of the International Bazaar and with the government regarding the status of the rules and regulations they are trying to implement when dealing with derelict vehicles and dilapidated buildings. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Jolanda Thompson-Everest.
Thanks, Jolanda. Well, the press secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, Clint Watson, revealing this morning that during the office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing, that the government is focused on a very aggressive housing initiative this year, especially for the Family Islands. This as he announced the construction of a new housing subdivision on the island of Abaco.
New housing development in the central area of Abaco, known as Pine Tree. This subdivision will be developed on a plot of land previously designated for housing development, which did not materialize. That's going to happen as well.
As it relates to Grand Bahama, Watson says construction for larger homes to be built on the island is underway. He also noted that the Ministry for Transport and Housing is exploring public-private partnerships for this development.
Construction also expected to begin in Grand Bahama this year for even larger size homes. And this will be through a private-public partnership initiative as well.
Well, a major contractor on Abaco is in question tonight after several employees have been vocal about not being paid for months. In his address to the media this morning, Press Secretary Clint Watson says this new revelation is now high on the Prime Minister's agenda. Here's that report.
During the Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing this morning, Press Secretary Clint Watson revealed that a company on Abaco is now under investigations by the nation's leader after several employees have complained of not being paid for months. The company in question is reportedly a subcontractor for Baker's Bay.
The Office of the Prime Minister has been in touch with representation from Endeavor Development International related to Bahamian workers not being paid for a significant period in Abaco. This is a story that's coming out of Abaco of a company that has been operating there, but apparently has not been paying its staff since sometime last year. Today, the Prime Minister was made aware of the complaint, and workers can rest assured that the matter will now be investigated. This government will not allow foreign investors or anyone by that matter to take advantage of Bahamian workers and vendors.
Watson says though there was not a formal complaint, the OPM caught wind of the situation this morning, and the Prime Minister immediately took interest.
We don't have a number yet. Prime Minister's just now been made aware of it. He's going to investigate into it. So we will hopefully be able to get some figures as to what's owed, how many people are owed. Only thing we know is this is a company that has partnership with an investor, foreign investor, as well as a local partner. And they were doing some construction work along with for Baker's Bay. They were contracted to do some work with Baker's Bay. We understand that some of the employees have not been paid since last year, September sometime. We understanding there's been some talking about it on social media, but never a formal complaint.
Now, this is the second time this month that the nation's chief had to intervene on a matter involving Bahamian workers and their employers. Just last month, after the Freeport Container Port abruptly terminated 20 workers without properly advising the government, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis stepped in and FCP reversed that decision and canceled those terminations. Our ZNS News team spoke exclusively with a representative from Endeavor International, who says that they are in communication with the Prime Minister's office, and every effort is being made for the 40-plus Bahamian workers to be paid in the quickest possible time. The representative notes that it is a regrettable situation, adding that the matter will be sought soonest. He says Endeavor thanks the Prime Minister for his caring, compassionate, and competent attention to this matter, noting that foreign investors will not be allowed to take advantage of hard-working and talented Bahamian workers.
He is now going to do what he needs to do to get the information around it and to address the issue and to hopefully bring resolution.
The press secretary says the Prime Minister is also handling this issue as a priority and is currently conducting investigations.
Still with news from Abaco, it has been an ongoing problem for many years, particularly following Hurricane Dorian. Speaking with our Aja Quant, Member of Parliament for Central and South Abaco, John Pinder, says the number of illegal immigrants and shantytowns are continuously growing and remains a major concern for residents. Aja joins us live in studio with the latest. Aja, this is not a new issue. What can you tell us?
Well, Simone, that's right. The issue remains a hot topic, particularly amongst residents on Abaco. While the issue of illegal immigration has been a cause for concern for decades, the recent uptick in illegals moving to that island has renewed the call for an aggressive approach to this problem. Member of Parliament for Central and South Abaco, John Pinder, not mincing on words when it comes to this concern, as he shares that the government has a plan moving forward. Pinder revealing that different government agencies are joining forces to combat this immigration issue. He adds that Attorney General Ryan Pinder is also involved.
A plan is being put together to really tackle it head on, opposed to just trying to put a Band-Aid on it. So this administration is taking it very seriously. They are putting a plan together, and we'll have real action coming up soon. But I am not at liberty to say any details. All I can say is that I am optimistic that the approach that they are taking is going to be effective.
In 2019, Hurricane Dorian decimated many unauthorized structures on the island of Abaco, including the Mud and the Pigeon Pea. While thousands were left without homes, Bahamians called for the then government to address this situation situation. Fast forward to 3 years later, shanty towns continue to pop up throughout the island.
It is blossoming more than I've ever seen. I'm an Abaconian. I've been here all my life, and I've seen it start and continue. And now, after Dorian and 3 years afterwards, is growing even more.
According to MP Pinder, Abaco is blessed with the high tourism demand and has always been able to hold its own economically.
They're coming here for work. They're coming here for a better part of life. What we need to do is make sure that that they are doing it properly. We can't have structures put on our water tables without the proper sanitization infrastructure, without the proper permitting, and so on and so forth. It'll be a detriment to our water table and a detriment to Abaco in a whole. I know. The Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister are taking this seriously, and we will be having serious effects in terms of mitigating it in 2023.
Now, Simone, Pinder admits that there is no easy fix to the immigration problem on the island of Abaco that has been allowed to grow for decades. However, he believes the time has come to address this issue once and for all. Live in studio for the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Aja Quant. Back to you, Simone.
Thanks, Aja. When we come back, a man who was part of a group handcuffed and hauled before the courts during majority rule. We're calling that moment tonight. That story and more, including the latest in sports, when the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, continues.
Come on down and see what Dolly Madison has in store for you. Renovate and rejuvenate at Dolly Madison. Dolly Madison. Pizza Hut Freeport has a super delicious super deal. Now you can order 2 medium one-topping pizzas for just $19.10, VAT inclusive. Choose your pairs with any one topping and crust, pan or thin, and satisfy everyone. Excite your taste buds with Pizza Hut's 2 medium pizzas super deal. And save. Available for carry-out, curbside, pickup, and delivery at Pizza Hut Downtown, 352-9191.
The ultimate brunch full buffet is back at Portobello's in the Grand Lucayan Hotel every Sunday from noon until 4 p.m. Call 373-1333 for more information.
Grand Bahama Stepping Out is now online. Visit their website. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Find them in Nassau at the top of the hill, Mackey Street. Call 394-7100 or WhatsApp 727-9098. Stepping out.
Come and see the cabinets and countertops in stock now at Specialty Kitchen and Bath. Number 16 Oak Street. Phone 688-9661.
They fought for freedom. They fought for justice. They fought for equality. They fought for Bahamians. After years of struggle by freedom fighters, a defining moment in our evolution as a people was birthed. January 10th is a day that belongs to you. It belongs to me. It belongs to all Bahamians. Join us as we recall the historical events that led to majority rule beginning on Tuesday, January 10th through Friday, January 13th, only on the ZNS Network.
That's what I told her. Bring the winding thing here. This is Reconstruct, so show me emotion. Hey, wine and go down low.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. In keeping with our ongoing series commemorating the events that led to majority rule on January 10th, 1967, tonight we feature a man who was part of a group handcuffed and hauled before the courts advocating for the rights of taxi cab drivers to work in Freeport some 50 years ago. Here's Ramiko Knowles.
If Bahamians are not prepared to stand up and defend their own Bahamas, then they don't deserve to have it. Words by Celinden, Oscar Pinling. Hilton Boleg, you were one of the men who were honored this past majority rule holiday on the street that you were arrested over 50 years ago.
I was one of them. I was one of them that got locked up, along with Pinland, demonstrating in the front of the courthouse. Wallace Grove told us that we won't be able to drive taxi in his Freeport. At that time, Addison Colmer was the president of the Grand Bahama Taxi Cab Union. And we stand behind the president and the members and show Wallace Grove that we will drive taxi in Freeport. That's what the issue was all about.
And that very same demonstration sparked a revolution.
Major, and that caused today, the average fellow who drives a taxi don't even know how he arrived at driving taxi in Freeport. You know, he just take it for granted that it is all right to go to the airport or the harbor and pick up a fare. He don't know whose shoulders he stand on.
Understanding where I came from has given me a greater appreciation of who I am as a Bahamian. But I can't help but wonder, why isn't there a greater emphasis on us being taught our history?
I blame us. Bucket on her head. And she toting this 5 gallon of water. And she said she told it because she wanted to understand every drop of water, what it means. But because we don't told it, we don't know. Do not take it for granted that you could turn a faucet on and water will come out.
56 years ago, great men and women stood and fought for our rights. Do we still have that same level of unity today?
Pinland started, you know. But somewhere along the line, we dropped the ball. This black crab syndrome we have about us, we need to stop that. Jamaicans support Jamaicans. Haitians support Haitians. Cubans support Cubans. But Bahamians got a problem with one another. Not all, but a lot of them. Stop it, man. Stop it.
Your Thursday Check on Sports is next with Jay Philippe.
Good evening, I'm Jay Philippe and welcome to Sports. Well, school sports return to action for the new year. Primary school girls and boys hit the court at St. George's Gymnasium. In case you missed the action, here's the highlights. The first game of the day was a matchup between BMES and Walter Parker Primary. Walter Parker had the bigger girls in terms of size, and it worked out in their favor as they dominated the Warriors 12-2.
After a long break, they lost everything. But we're coming back strong. We are 2-0, and we intend to keep our perfect records.
The second game of the day was a fierce matchup between Freeport Primary and Freeport Gospel. After a back-and-forth second half that saw some late changes, the game went into overtime where both teams had a shootout. On the very last shot after 8 attempts, here's what happened. And that was your ball game. Freeport Gospel wins 5-4.
For a team of first-time players, it's really good to have them on the court. I didn't think we'd make it this far, but I'm grateful that we did. We practiced for a while, so they really just shown what we was practicing. Well, Jemiah Thompson, she's a really good player, so I just let her do her thing, honestly.
The third game of the afternoon saw the Stingers of Sunland going up against Freeport Primary. The Stingers would come from behind to take this one 10-6.
Those guys played tough right down to the end. It's tough trying to get the emotions involved with the little ones, but they played hard. We made some key turnovers and then a key shot at the end that, ultimately cost us to win the game. We got to finish layups. Easy layups, looking up, sharing the ball, being unselfish. At that age, they just want to dribble. So just the basic concept of the game, passing the ball, making layups, and we'll be fine.
The final contest of the night saw Maury Small Primary taking the W against Walter Parker Primary 12-10. Games are expected to continue this week at the St. George's Gym and 8 Mile Rock Gymnasium. Sticking with hoops, the Geneva Rutherford Girls Basketball Tournament returns to Grand Bahama, February 22nd through the 25th.
We've been looking forward to this because we've been actually trying to get into Bimini last year. We had on our schedule to go into Abaco, and they shut that down. And I'm thankful for Coach Mark for bringing us back because we really need to give the girls more time. It can't develop by playing 2-3 games, so you need more time. And with a tournament like this, they get more playing time in, which will improve their play.
And that's a quick check on sports, ladies and gents. I'm Jay Philippe. Be blessed.
Is almost here, but at Island Bedding, the deals are not done yet.
Selected king and queen bed up to 20% off. Accent benches up to 25% off. Accent chests up to 30% off. Selected king and queen bedroom set up to 20% off. Futons, 20% off. Happy holidays from Island Bedding.
The coconut got this, cocoa skin dripping madness, juiciness, ice the this, sweet like a sugar in a dripping like ice, honey, addict, all of my love me, sweet like a sugar in a watch it go, watch it go, watch it go, sweet like a sugar in a
new Click Platinum flavored beers with a kick of rum, make it platinum.
Athletes across the northern Bahamas inspire us with their performances on and off the field. ZNS is proud to honor these competitors with our Athlete of the Month award. We will select an athlete whose story and accomplishments represents the best in their sporting discipline. Tune in to find out who will be the Athlete of the Month. Will an athlete be you?
Athlete of the Month is brought to you by Buddy Buckets. Buddy Buckets, you call the shots.
I'm D'Amico Nesbitt from the Fitness Connection. Welcome to Health Bites, where each and every week we give you a helpful tip to help you on your health and fitness journey. And the new year is here. It's a time for resolution, set new goals, and the Fitness Connection is here to help you with our Transformation Challenge. You have a chance to win $1,000 cash for the top male and female. This is a 12-week challenge. We've already had massive success in this challenge. We've been doing this for 3 years now, and we've been able to transform hundreds of lives with this challenge. Challenge members also get 20% off every 2 weeks that they can use at the Fitness Connection to buy products or equipment that can help them along their transformation journey. So if this sounds good for you, you want to win that $1,000 and get the body of your dreams, then come sign up for our Transformation Challenge. Stop by the Fitness Connection store or scan the link that's going to show up on the screen shortly and take you straight to our website where you can also sign up. Hope to see you soon.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Victoria Marshall, you are our Facebook friend of the day. We also want to wish you a happy birthday, and we say thank you for your continued support. And that concludes our newscast tonight for the North. On behalf of the entire ZNS News team, I'm Simone Davis. Thank you so much for watching, but be sure to stay tuned as the Bahamas Tonight continues.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the National Report. A new multi-million-dollar project set for the Exuma Keys. No new COVID protocols in light of the new subvariant. More housing projects in the pipeline. And in sports, government school basketball tips off. The Bahamas tonight, the National Report starts now.
ZNS News is linked up by BTC. Whether it's chatting, gaming, content creating, or working smart to get things done, link up to stay connected with BTC.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jimenita Swain, and this is the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks so much for tuning in. Government signing a multi-million-dollar deal with PMR Bahamas today that will transform a privately owned island in the Exuma chain into a major tourist hub. Fern Carey tells us that the development is also expected to open up hundreds of job opportunities for Bahamians.
The agreement between the government and PMR Bahamas represents a $175 million investment that is expected to transform Torch Key, also known as Hoe Key, into a residential and hotel property in southern Exuma. The multi-million-dollar project is also expected to create hundreds of jobs over the 2 phases of construction, and once completed, it will feature an 18-hole golf course, an environmental research facility, a sustainable organic farm, and a beach club and spa. Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis Casey says the capital investment will serve as a valuable stimulus for residents in Exuma and the entire country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait to see this project and all its facilities come to fruition over the course of the next decade. This distinct, forward-thinking community will serve as a valuable economic stimulus for the residents of Exuma and indeed the entire nation. Valuable jobs will be created where they are needed most. More visitors will flock to our shores and witness the magnitude of what we have to offer. Local businesses will be bolstered, tax revenue will be generated, and increased competition will raise our tourism product to even loftier heights.
Area Member of Parliament, Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, and Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Jessica Cooper, is hopeful that the development will motivate Exuma residents who have left the island to return home.
30 years ago, there were more people living in Little Exuma than is living there today. And this development will help us to get the critical mass that we need for the surrounding area. 30 years ago, there were more students attending the Williamstown Primary School than is now attending that school. And 30 years ago, when I attended the Forbes Hill All-Age School, it was actually open. Today, it's closed. So you see that there has been much movement. This is going to create jobs. It's going to create business opportunities. It's going to allow people to come back to the island of Exuma, Little Exuma, in particular, but it's going to be good for community and good for the social development of the area.
The project is expected to be completed between 8 to 12 years. Managing partner at PMR Bahamas, Philip Simon, and principal investor Philip Pensky says work will begin immediately.
The start date is now. In fact, the start date has been well over a year ago in terms of the preparations, et cetera, but in terms of literally shovels in the ground, they might have already gotten a text, right? Your question was with regards to Bahamian. Obviously, there's a policy, and the goal of this project is not only to meet the policy, but to beat the policy. I mean, again, we all spoke to it, is to have as many qualified Bahamian professionals, young Bahamian professionals as well, involved in this project as possible.
First, the overall acreage, as Philip referred to, is 707 acres. There's going to be multiple stages to the project. The goal is to have the marina built in the first 3 years, the golf course completed in the first 30 months. So that'll be the full completion of the entire project, but there'll be stages of multiple milestones much earlier, after probably the 3-year target is what we're currently looking at.
As it relates to concessions, the Deputy Prime Minister indicated that the developer will benefit from the standard incentives under the Hotel Encouragement Act. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Fern Carey.
Switching over now to health news, while the COVID virus and other associated variants continue to be a major issue in some countries globally, the problem here in the Bahamas has nowhere reached that level. Health officials say they're doing all they can to contain the numbers of those infected as they continue to relay the message that COVID-19 virus is still with us. Carla Palmer has this update.
As China continues to grapple with high COVID numbers, prompting some international countries to reintroduce restrictive measures against passengers traveling from China, the COVID numbers here at home continue to be relatively low. Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Margaritaville, maintains he and his team have no concerns for now, but they're still closely monitoring the situation.
First of all, COVID has never gone away. And as you can see what's going on around the world, every country is seeing a slight spike in cases. There's no difference in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We do not have a direct flight from China to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And most people who come from China, they have intermediary stops. Those particular stops, there's some protocols in place. So there was no urgency for us from our EOC to implement any testing in our country. With that being said, it's a very fluid situation. We're monitoring it. And if we feel that there's a need to increase or extensify the protocols, we'll do so. At this point, no need to do it.
According to Managing Director of the Public Hospitals Authority, Aubanet Roll, there are just under 20 persons hospitalized with the COVID virus.
So the exact numbers I don't have today, but we were ranging just underneath 18. However, I think what's most important is that out of those cases, that's not the primary diagnosis still. So they're coming in with other medical illnesses, but as a result of our testing that is a requirement for admission, but it's under control. We have moved those in isolated spaces that we call cohorted spaces so that there is control.
The legacy unit is open. That's the purpose for it being there. If we do find cases with mild to moderate symptoms, we have to have a facility to treat them. But the cases are very much manageable here at the Princess Margaret Hospital and the Randall Memorial Hospital.
With infrastructural work ongoing at PMH, health officials say very soon the modular units, specific for any infectious disease, will be in country, installed and operational. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Carla Palmer.
Still talking health, the Chinese government donating over $1 million in medical supplies to the Bahamas, $1.2 million to be exact. The donation made today in a handover ceremony at the Princess Margaret Hospital's critical care block. Chinese ambassador to the Bahamas, Her Excellency Dai Ching-Li, believes the exercise serves as a further demonstration of her government's commitment to maintaining a long and enduring friendship.
These supplies have been provided as an outcome of the foreign ministers' meeting among China and Caribbean countries having diplomatic relations with China held in April last year. They are the 11th batch and the largest one so far of medical supplies and equipment offered by China to the Bahamas since the start of the pandemic. We do hope they'll go some way to shoring up the capacities of the public hospitals here in the Bahamas.
The supplies of personal protective equipment comprise masks, gloves, hair and feet nets, protective gowns, pulse oximeters, and small testing gear. Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, graciously accepted the donation.
The People's Republic of China has been very gracious to the Bahamian people in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Today is another display of friendship where 3 40-foot trailers of medical supplies have been donated to help us in our fight with the COVID pandemic. It is clear that even though many of the restrictions in our country is no longer in place, COVID-19 still exists. And I can speak specifically about some of the challenges we currently face here at the Princess Margaret Hospital and by extension the Rand Memorial Hospital. These supplies will go a long way in our fight, and we intend to use them wisely and to distribute them not only at the Princess Margaret Hospital, but also at the Rand Memorial Hospital and the Grand Bahama Health Services.
Also making national news tonight, Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Clint Watson, verified today Now, the Progressive Liberal Party has fully reimbursed the public treasury for the Prime Minister's trip to Bermuda. The Honourable Philip Davis was accompanied by a delegation from the PLP and government officials when he addressed Bermuda's Progressive Liberal Party's convention, sparking controversy over who paid for the trip. The party previously posted a photo of the check where the Treasury had been reimbursed more than $24,000.
We're trying to finalize the total amount of that. I think it's close to, from the records that I've received, it's just under $60,000 in total for the entire thing.
Well, the Department of Inland Revenue's acting controller, Shonda Strawn, maintains the agency will be focusing on verifying business turnovers. It's an issue she describes as one of the department's biggest challenges. Businesses with a turnover of $100,000 a year should be value-added tax registrants, but most businesses fail to report their turnover. This is defined as the revenue business earns before deductions.
So we have just under 50,000 businesses that registered last year. So we know that we will expect to have more than 50,000 businesses renew their business licenses this year. So that's our 50,000 businesses, and of that 50,000 businesses, really only about 9,000 of them are registered for VAT. And so what that tells us then is that you have more than 40,000 businesses that are saying they generate less than $100,000 a year.
So intend to ask questions as businesses submit their business license applications that are due for renewal on January 31st.
Let's look at $100,000. What is $100,000? $100,000 divided by 52 weeks. So if you're a business and you're open for 52 weeks out of the year, $100,000 is like $1,900 odd a week that you earn. So if you're earning $1,900 a week, or just over that, you should be a VAT registrant because your turnover is more than $100,000. If you are earning like about $385, that's a month. So if you're earning like about $385 a week, you should be a VAT registrant.
In other news, the failed cryptocurrency exchange FTX has reportedly recovered over $5 billion in liquid assets. That's what a company attorney told a Delaware bankruptcy court judge Wednesday. However, the extent of customer losses in the company's collapse is still unknown at this time. FTX founder and former CEO Sam Bankman-Fried is facing 8 fraud-related charges stemming to the company's fallout and out on $250 million bail. He returns to court in October for trial. His 2 former top associates have already pleaded guilty to charges relating to their role in the cryptocurrency exchange dilemma and are cooperating with authorities in a bid for leniency. Well, another day of questioning by police for former Cabinet Minister Lanisha Rolle. Rolle and her husband were taken into custody on Tuesday and released. They had to return yesterday and again today to assist investigators. Rolle, who served under the administration as Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, resigned from cabinet for personal reasons in early 2021. Her departure came after a lockdown of her ministry by former Prime Minister Hubert Minnis, who said at the time that certain matters were brought to his attention and were being investigated. Now, those matters were linked to contracts with ministry officials expressing concern that established protocols and processes were not being followed. An Auditor General's report of the National Sports Authority for the period July 2018 to January 2021 found that contracts were awarded without cabinet approval, inadequate inventory controls, and poor maintenance practices, among others. Now, yesterday, Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander did not say why Rolle was being questioned. However, we understand that investigators are looking into irregularities at the ministry for which she once led. Well, if you pass the Margaritaville Resort any time today, more than likely a line wrapped around the building was the order of today, as several hundred applicants showed up in hopes of nabbing one of a number of jobs recently advertised on social media. Lloyd Allen was there.
On Thursday, hundreds turning out to Margaritaville's job fair, where organizers say the power of social media proved far more effective than predicted.
It will be different from any other experience because the team here is very inviting and very engaging, so they can expect to be welcomed to the Margaritaville family.
Director of Human Resources and Training, Latoya Camp, says when they promoted vacancies through Facebook, the company had no idea how the message would mushroom.
We planned to start about 10 a.m. this morning, but from 7:15, persons were lined up out front, so we started a bit earlier. We had persons come inside so they can be pre-screened, offered them refreshments this morning, did the pre-screening, moved them over to the interview section, and then gave document request forms to all of the persons who were successful.
With the lines packed from early on, Camp says excitement among our team remained high throughout the day.
As you know, Margaritaville is a fun brand, so a lot of young persons have applied, and they don't mind standing and waiting. So the team is out engaging the persons while they're in line and just wanting this to be a successful event.
Proving that the job market is diverse, applicants from the 200-plus positions represented by both young and old, including seasoned industry food and beverage professional Kennedy Bodie, who is ready for a new start and a chance to offer mentorship.
I'm well prepared, I'm poised, I'm actually in a position right now to help them if given an opportunity. But nothing really I love more than to help young people and help them reach their potential and their goals.
26-year-old Gen Z Alexandria Russell feels social media proved key in tipping her off on the job listings.
It was all over Facebook, and a couple of my friends sent it to me on WhatsApp. And I woke up early to come here, but the line was so long. It was very long, but I'm glad I'm halfway there.
As for her chances of getting the job,
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm hoping I get a laundry attendant or housekeeping.
But as the Margaritaville team has concluded the mammoth task of interviewing several hundred applicants, they say successful candidates can look forward to a callback within a week. And as for other applicants, they will be placed on file for possible future positions. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. More news in a moment.
This portion of the news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
It has the looks, the style, the performance. Your new car is everything you always dreamed of. Now it's here. Commonwealth Bank was happy to help put you behind the wheel with a new car loan at a competitive rate and fast, friendly approval. It's a service that just comes naturally to us, just like how love of tradition comes naturally to you. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
We just got the new fiber internet speed bump. Now my internet's so fast, I could watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse with my computer at the same time.
Yeah, my internet's so fast, I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles run cooking.
Mine's so fast, when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine's so fast, when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
Because they were on sale, Keisha bought these umbrella shoes without thinking. Literally, without thinking. Hungry for deals? Come and satisfy that hunger at KFC before doing something crazy. Snack Box for only $5 with a piece of juicy KFC fried chicken, creamy mashed potato, and the buttery biscuit. A finger-licking good deal.
Trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
Sarah, how are you doing?
Okay.
Are you sure? I noticed you've been down lately.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know. I can't really put into words how I'm feeling, but I know I don't feel like myself sometimes. There's just so much going on in my life. School, friends, sports. Sometimes I worry about different things and feel stressed.
I'm glad you're talking to me. And it's okay to talk about your feeling. It's normal to feel changes depending upon what's going on around you.
Yeah?
Of course. All of us should be concerned with our mental health and our well-being. Good mental health means that we can cope with our everyday stresses. You can talk to me anytime when you feel like it.
Okay. We should always check and talk more often and take things from there.
Message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Thanks for staying with us. Aviation and Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable I. Chester Cooper, responding to a complaint filed by a group of U.S. airlines last month about overflight fees. They complained they were double paying and that fees were discriminatory. The DPM confirmed that government will continue to work through diplomatic channels to resolve the matter.
We have responded formally yesterday, and we will continue to work through diplomatic channels to ensure there's clarity in terms of what the agreements are between the Bahamas and the USA. We are committed to amicable resolution. The commercial airlines are our partners in tourism. We are seeing significant airlift, and we're going to ensure that we continue to talk with them until everyone's satisfied that there's clarity by way of understanding.
Well, there has been fierce public debate over the controversial issue of marital rape, with some eager to see the issue criminalized and others calling for government to stay out of people's marriages. While the Bahamas ratified the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women decades ago, that is the CEDAW Convention, the country has still not eliminated marital rape. Cleopatra Murphy has the details on when legislation is expected to advance.
Despite draft marital rape legislation being introduced last September, Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Clint Watson, says there is still no timeline on when it will be tabled in the House of Assembly.
They want to complete the dialogue. He says the reason why there's no time frame on it is they want to actually exhaust all avenues in addressing and looking at this proposed legislation. He did say they have another meeting with the Baptist community. They've called and requested another meeting. So that's expected to happen. They also want to meet with the Christian Council to make sure there's clarity on the proposed legislation. That hasn't happened as yet. And any other stakeholders that may come forward and say, listen, we need to talk more about it. So that's why there's no framework attached to it.
The draft legislation, the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2022, that has been released for consultation, is intended to criminalize marital rape and would define marital rape as the act of any person not under 14 years of age having sexual intercourse with another person without the consent of that person, where he knows that person does not consent or is reckless as to whether the person consents. The debate gained renewed energy following a 2022 ruling in a divorce case by Justice Denise Lewis Johnson, who ruled that while rape is a most heinous act of cruelty, there is no rape in marriage under current Bahamian law, but granted a divorce on the ground of cruelty. Government has been criticized for not moving quickly enough to introduce the legislation. So where does it lie on the Davis administration's priority agenda?
And that's why it's difficult to say, oh, this is an urgent priority, because as you wrap up, he just said he wrapped up meetings and some dialogues, and then there's another phone call. And so that's why you can't really attach a priority time limit to it, because what he's trying to do is engage all stakeholders. And so as long as it takes to engage all stakeholders that are relevant in this legislation being able to be presented before Parliament, he wants to do that. And so he's been given the liberty to do that until they completely have buy-in on something.
The press secretary also responded to criticism that government is relying too much on the church before moving to advance the legislation.
It's not a matter of relying heavily on the church. The meetings are not just with the church. Those are the meetings that are upcoming, but those aren't the only meetings they've met with. They've met with organizations, they've met with women's groups, they've met with civic organizations, and so it's not just lopsided as it appears by saying the Christian groups. Those may be the meetings that they've just concluded with or are having next, but it's not only been the church.
He says because marital rape has led to fierce debate from all avenues, government wants to ensure it makes the best representation of the Bahamian public, adding that it wants to avoid future criticism that there was not enough consultation. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
In other news, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis will address former Governor General and widow of the Father of the Nation, the Right Honorable Celinda Pinling. Dame Marguerite Pinling's criticism that the Progressive Liberal Party was using the Majority Rule celebrations as a stepping stone. Asked about a response from the Prime Minister at the OPM's press briefing, Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Clint Watson, noted the matter is personal to the nation's leader and he would leave it to him to address. During a Majority Rule Day service at the former Prime Minister's mausoleum, Dame Marguerite hit out at the party's leadership, voicing her displeasure at something she did not like. She demanded an apology, which was given by the Honorable Fred Mitchell.
I want the record to reflect the Prime Minister has always been very respectful and grateful to anyone who served our country. He talks about it a lot in his speeches. He talks about it when he's talking to heads of state, people visiting. He talks a lot about the history of the Bahamas and people who have contributed to us getting to where we are today. He's always been very appreciative of that, and that doesn't change. He's very appreciative of the contributions of all of our forefathers and leaders who have paved the way, Majority Rule, and in the Bahamas gaining independence, and the things that we've achieved. Dame Margaret is a part of that. She has a place in history, and you've seen that by her elevation in a number of offices and the contributions that the administration has made in acknowledging her.
Activist and pastor of Mount Olive Baptist Church, Reverend C.B. Moss, remains in stable condition in hospital following that medical emergency he experienced at the Majority Rule service at St. Agnes Anglican Church on Tuesday. After receiving CPR, Reverend Moss was taken to hospital. Family members making it clear that social media reports that the senior clergyman is alive and did not die as a result of the ordeal. Now stabilized, he's said to be undergoing a number of tests and treatment and is assigned a team of competent doctors. The Moss family appreciates the outpouring of love shown during Reverend Moss's illness and asks that you continue to keep him in your prayers. Crossing over now to news from the crime beat, we have an update on the arrest of that 15-year-old who police found with a high-powered weapon yesterday. The Daily Crime Report confirms that the teen student was involved in an altercation with another student, after which shots were fired in the Wilton Street area. Police also say the weapon had 20 rounds of ammunition. Residents called the police to report the teen. The area was saturated and the 15-year-old boy was arrested on Collins Avenue around 5 o'clock. Investigations continue. Well, today marks a momentous day in Bahamian history. It was 65 years ago when hundreds of public and private sector workers walked off their jobs, shutting down New Providence for almost 3 weeks and forcing some much-needed social and political change. Our Desmond Sanders spoke to a leading historian, giving us a perspective of the 1958 general strike.
Well, it's considered a pivotal moment in Bahamian history. Angry taxi drivers and others in the labor movement voicing disgust when the exclusive rights to transport visitors to and from hotels was given to Bay Street-owned tour companies. The strike lasted for 16 days. The protests, organized by the Bahamas Federation of Labor, the Bahamas Taxi Cab Union, and the Progressive Liberal Party. Associate Professor of History at the University of the Bahamas, Dr. Christopher Curry says the general strike of 1958 was precipitated by other key events that should not be forgotten.
Well, the timeline really draws us back to November 1st, 1957, when you had the government at the time, the Bay Street Boys. They were not officially formed into the UBP until after the general strike in 1958, but they nevertheless gave an exclusive license for tour operators to transport tourists from the newly opened airport at Windsor Field to the hotels. The tour operating companies were white-owned, and so it became a race issue because the independent black taxi cab driver and those allied with the taxi cab union were completely left out of that licensing arrangement. And so what they did, led by Clifford Darling, they blockaded the airport road on November 1st, preventing any access to the new airport.
Now, the government at that time tried to intervene to bring quick resolve to the situation, but to no avail. A turning point came January 11th, 1958, during a meeting at the House of Labor Wolf Road, where key labor figures voted to strike.
It's significant that Randall Fox and Lyndon Pindling walked into the Emerald Beach Hotel, put their hands on Shop Stewart Campbell's shoulders and said, now, and that precipitated the hotel workers walking off the job immediately. It's profound because it shows the solidarity between three arms of the labor movement in 58. You had the PLP led by Pindling, Randall Fox, leader of the Bahamas Federation of Labor, and of course Clifford Darling, leader of the Taxi Cab Union, which were spearheading the initial dispute from November 57.
The general strike of 1958 made local and international headlines. Teachers, sanitation workers, and others in the labor movement galvanizing for change. Curry says a mantra of 1958 still resonates with us today. More importantly, the general strike of 1958 signifies a strength of the labor movement and a high point in the quiet revolution of the Bahamas. Important lessons in history. Desmond Saunders, Bahamas Tonight.
It's time now for the weekly poll question, and this week we're asking, who do you think is ultimately responsible for addressing juvenile delinquency? A, parents, B, government, C, both. To participate, simply log on to our website, www.znsbahamas.com, as well as any of our social media platforms to answer. The poll's final results will be aired on Friday. As always, thanks for participating. The National Report returns in a moment. Stay with us.
The All Bahamas Merit and National Merit Scholars Ceremony returned after a 2-year hiatus due to COVID-19. There, the best and brightest high school students were recognized for their academic excellence. St. Augustine's College alums Maya Tilburg and Alexis Gadet, the 2021 and 2022 All Bahamas Merit Scholars, won the 4-year $150,000 scholarships, while their schoolmate Kobe Forbes was the 2022 runner-up, and QC's Kamori Sawyer, the 2021 runner-up. Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, Glenys Anna Martin, congratulated the quartet and other National Merit Scholar winners.
I implore you to return home and contribute to the development of our nation. Your skills, talents, and abilities are needed. And the greatest way to express gratitude is by giving back. As they say, to whom much is given, much is required. And when you look at our country, young people, please see a place full of possibility, a place you can help to build, to shape, a place of promise. I use this opportunity to invite you to see your individual attainments as relevant and necessary to our collective pursuits. I am hopeful that in the days hereafter, you will contribute to the national development of our nation.
For Ed Talk, I am Ronald.
Join us for the most comprehensive virtual seminar on February 8th and 9th entitled How to Open and Grow an Assisted Living Facility. The senior industry in the United States is valued at $91.8 billion. Learn from industry leaders on the state and regulatory licensing process, how to identify a location and build out, how to market your facility, and finally, the immigration process. Register online at www.devogroup.com.
What if I told you that the future is here? That is not some magical door we walk through, but a place we create. It's home. The place where you can download a 2-hour movie in seconds and stay connected to loved ones even when traveling far from home. fastest, most secure, and reliable way to stream the internet, so you can do what you want, whenever you want. Where internet moves at lightning speeds, smoother and more reliable than anything you've ever seen. This future-proof technology can take you to worlds that you can only imagine. That's the power of live fiber. The future is here. The future is home. The future is Alive Fiber.
During 2022, Family Guardian was honored to provide tangible assistance to numerous Bahamian communities, organizations, and charities, including the Bahamas Kidney Association, Bahamas Humane Society, Bahamas Crisis Center, Stapleton School, Salvation Army School for the Blind, Nurses Association, Persis Rogers Home for the Aged, Grand Bahama Children's Home, 4D Stallions Track Club, Rhythm and Youth Rake and Scrape Band, Cancer Society of the Bahamas, Reach Out Youth Organization, Falcon Boys Club, Royal Bahamas Police Force Dependents Trust, PACE, Sister Breast Cancer Support Group, the Down Syndrome Center, Great Commission Ministries, and Every Child Counts Special Needs School. Our record of corporate giving speaks for itself, and our commitment to positively impact the communities where we work and live remains a foundational principle for our company. As the year draws to a close, we would like to say thank you to our clients and a Merry Christmas and a healthy, happy, and prosperous New Year to all from the management and staff of Family Guardian.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Next month is observed as Heart Month nationwide, and the Sir Victor Sassoon Heart Foundation will hold its annual Heart Ball on February 25th at the Balmoral Resort. It's the first Heart Ball since the COVID-19 pandemic. Joining us in studio tonight is the foundation's president, R.E. Barnes. Good evening, Mr. Barnes, and thanks for joining us on the National Report.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we know that the Heart Ball is a staple in the community and considered the Sir Victor Sassoon Heart Foundation's primary fundraiser. Give us a preview of this year's ball and how much money the foundation is hoping to generate.
Well, every year we hope to have somewhere close to 500 people at the ball again. And so we generally can raise around several $100,000 from this function. We have a room raffle, a silent auction, and for fun, we've got 3 bands and a DJ. We've got the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Band, the Ed Bryce Orchestra, and the Soulful Groovers. So there's plenty of entertainment and good dancing, and the food is great. And it's just a fun time had by all. And so hopefully we'll be able to draw the same kind of crowds we did before the pandemic and have these children get the support that they so desperately need.
And speaking of children, a major function of the Sir Victor Sassoon Heart Foundation is to financially assist children in need of heart surgery. How many children is the foundation's, or rather are on the foundation's current list, and does the foundation have the funds required to help the majority of them?
At the moment, we have 4 children who are needing surgery in the next couple of months, fairly urgently. A couple of these are newborns even. And it's a lot better if we can get it when they're very young, and it's more likely to be a very successful surgery then. At the moment, though, we don't have the funds to cover all 4 of these surgeries. That's why we're counting on a successful ball, and that the funds can also carry through the year to help other children. It's very expensive, and the costs keep going up, so we need everyone's support.
And what are some of the foundation's other goals for 2023?
Well, we try to promote heart health, but we also look to the public to come forward, and you can always make donations anytime, leave a bequest. If you know somebody who just hit the lottery, tell them to come see us. But we need everybody's support. It's a marvelous thing that the public has supported us for over 60 years now. And of every dollar we raise, I assure you, almost 98 cents of that dollar goes directly to pay for the surgeries. We're very proud of that. We have no employees who are paid. It's strictly a volunteer effort, and it works really well to help these children.
Well, thanks so much. That was, of course, Sir Victor Sassoon Heart Foundation's president, Ari Barnes. Thanks again, Mr. Barnes, for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, as we head to the break, we'd like to thank all of our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. Stay with us. There's more after the break.
At Solomon's, we're all about family. We believe in quality brands and giving you what you need and more for every occasion. Our store is filled with items for the entire family, celebrating everyday living for you and those you love. Shopping is now more rewarding than ever with My Solomon's Smart Rewards. Shop Solomon's.
Secure way to access and pay for government services online. Go to mygateway.gov.bs. Click Login. Register with a government-issued ID like your NIB card. Fill in your personal information exactly as it appears on your ID, including spaces, periods, and dashes. You'll only have to sign up once. Now you're ready to request services on My Gateway. Receive an email confirmation for every request and email alerts when your documents are ready. You must have a valid, government-issued ID in order to collect documents. New services will be added every month. My Gateway is fast, easy, and convenient. For more information, visit mygateway.gov.bs.
I'm Corbell Pfeiffer. BTC was everywhere in 2022, and two of the ways we made our presence felt was our partnering with the government in its Park Connect free Wi-Fi initiative.
On behalf of the government and the people of Tall Pines, I would like to thank BTC for partnering with us and partnering with the government to be able to provide this essential service.
Parks and communities across the country began receiving free 24-hour internet access. We were there for the launch in Kidd Island.
Stepping up to the plate and becoming a part of what I call corporate conscience, exercising corporate conscience to appreciate that stakeholders for their business is just not the shareholders, but rather the wider community.
We've worked hard to become trusted partners with our community, and it's something we take seriously and personally.
This is an excellent initiative that the government has put on. To be very honest with you, it is needed. I am very aware that not every home in South Beach has Wi-Fi. And so at least we have a place where the children in the community can come after school in the after school hours. Thank you very much, Ministry of Economic Affairs, BTC, the Bahamas government. We love you.
Here at BTC, we believe heart isn't just something we have, it's something we share. Here's to wishing you all a healthy, happy, and prosperous 2020.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
Want to have a sweet new year? Spend a minimum of $12 on any Hershey's Kisses or chocolate and take your receipt to Pritchard's on Robinson Road. You could win up to $2,500. There'll be 9 winners. Enter today.
Government's looking into complaints from a group of Bahamians employed with Abaco-based Endeavor Development International who reportedly haven't been paid since sometime last year. Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Clint Watson, says the concerning matter has come to the attention of Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis, who is moving to rectify the situation. He says the Office of the Prime Minister has been in touch with the company's representatives about the matter.
Today, the Prime Minister was made aware of the complaint, and workers can rest assured that the matter, in a conversation this morning, says now that he's been made aware today of what has been transpiring, he will intervene to ensure there is resolution. So we'll continue to follow on this story and give you an update on that.
Well, anticipation is growing on the official opening of government's 1,000-acre Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, better known as Bamsey, in North Andros. Agriculture Minister the Honourable Clay Sweeting shared before the weekly cabinet meeting Tuesday that the hope is to get the green light for full operation by fall. However, final work remains on completing assessments of some of the classrooms.
The Ministry of Works is currently working on executing those cabinet approvals to ensure that we complete the campus and open as soon as possible. The Ministry of Works just did the assessments, and they're looking at, hopefully, I would like to see, I could say what I would like to see. I would like to see in the upcoming school year in September that we're able to open the campus.
It's time now for a check on Family Island weather with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Jimenita. We're under mostly clear skies. Temperature at 75 degrees. Relative humidity 62%. We have south this evening. They are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 73 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, and Greenville Key in Abaco. Marshall, Abaco, a little cooler at 71 degrees. The Berry Island, 76. Alistown, Bimini, 75 degrees. 76 in Harbor Island. Rock Sound, Eleuthera, Black Point, Exuma, Kemp Space, St. Andros at 75 degrees. Fresh Creek and Central Andros, 76. Otterstown, Cat Island, San Salvador, and Rum Key also reporting 76 degrees. Georgetown, Exuma, 77. 77s in Ragged Island, Clarencetown, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Maguana, 78 degrees. Ackland, 78 degrees. Matchetown, Inagua, 79. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 78 degrees. And your east at 10 to 15 knots, the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. The high tide takes place at 11:35 tonight for the central and southeastern islands. The winds are a little stronger out of the east at 12 to 18 knots, wave heights 3 to 6 feet. So caution flags are in place for the central and southeastern islands tonight. And then tomorrow, Friday, as that frontal system approaches, the winds will blow south to southwest for the greater part of the day at 12 to 18 knots, wave heights building 3 to 6 feet. But once that front goes through in the late afternoon, those winds will swing out of the northwest. High tide will take place tomorrow at 11:44 in the morning with a low tide at 6:10 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands tomorrow, southeast winds 10 to 15 knots, wave heights 2 to 4 feet. And on Saturday, it's very choppy at 4 to 7 feet, locally higher in gusts. On Saturday, the low tide will take place at 6:34 in the morning with a high tide at 12:20 in the afternoon. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
That man in a boat passing through. Hey. What you gonna do? That man in a boat passing through. Hey. Don't care if you're golden or not. Passing through. What you gonna do? Try the wine. Boat passing through. Hey, hey. I wine on something. Wine up on something. Shake up on something.
To do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. For stay tuned, your extended weather forecast is still ahead.
Coming now, so time to wine around. Join up for life insurance. Secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A friend that you can trust. Family Guardian.
Let's make 2023 our best year yet. Super value and quality supermarkets. Rainbow corned beef, 12 ounce, 2 for $5. Best value whole kernel corn, 15 ounce, $1.09. Hunt's ketchup, 32 ounce, $2.89. Sweet mangoes, 2 for $3. Bone-in chicken breasts, $1.99 per pound. Donate your change to help feed.
We spend most of the early stages of our lives anticipating getting our first set of wheels. When that moment finally comes, let AID be there for all your auto needs. Make it yours by accessorizing, maintaining, and repairing your car with AID. Whether you're a professional mechanic, a recent graduate, a full-time mom, or an I can fix that kind of guy, or if you're completely clueless about what your car needs, AID will assist in providing a large variety of auto parts, a diagnostic center, and great customer service. For all life's auto journeys, we're here.
It's so fast, I can watch 2 4K movies, play video games, and browse on my computer at the same time.
Yeah, internet so fast, I could download a whole season of shows before my noodles done cooking.
Mine's so fast, when I go to church online, service actually over early.
Mine's so fast, when I'm working from home, 5 o'clock, come before 3.
Sound like you got this BTC fiber internet speed bump like me.
But it's so fast, I had to have it.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
The senior girls and senior boys basketball season being played at the Kendall Isaacs Gym. In senior girls play on Wednesday, the Doris Johnson Mystic Marlins no match for the CC Sweeting Cobras. Coach Terrence Red-Eye McSweeney winning his debut with his alma mater, 45-20 behind 13 points from Burnell Colebrook.
We know that we was coming into a situation where we really couldn't have practices like we want to, but it is what it is. When the season starts, you got to go with.
It was neck and neck. We were up at a point, but I guess they didn't believe in themselves enough. They got to keep encouraging them, and they got a bit tired. And then once they got the upper hand, they just was like, okay, we ain't have it in us. But we're going to continue to encourage them, and we're going to continue to practice.
All wins are big, you know. It's how you look at it. We did some things that we normally would. The girls who come with the practice would score baskets, the easy putbacks that we had on several occasions. We are a good outside shooting team, 3-point shots, jump shots, and free throws. We got a few of them.
Column 65-52. Latero Young led the way in the win with 19 points. Braden Williams followed with 17. Mateo Williams had a side-high 12 points for CC Sweeting.
We believe that we have to play the game that's before us. We have to come out. Even though we game plan, we have to be ready to adjust during the game so that we are able to match whatever intensity the team that we're playing against brings. We've been focusing on defense because we understand that offensively we will score, but defensively we must stop our opponents from scoring.
From the NBA, while Buddy Hield and the Indiana Pacers continue to impress at home, their road struggles continue. The Pacers have currently won 6 in a row at home, but have dropped 6 of the last 7 on the road, following a 119-113 loss Wednesday night to the New York Knicks, who have taken both games so far this season against Indiana. 7 for 15 from behind the three-point arc. He also had 8 rebounds. At 23-19 on the season, the Pacers now return home for a Friday night matchup with the Atlanta Hawks. Still on the pro hardwood, Kentuan Smith and Swenborg with midweek action in Denmark. The Bahamian had 12 points and 5 rebounds in a 93-83 win over Bears Academy. As for Travis Munnings, he had 8 points for Bourzac in France. They won 103-80 over American Samoa. On the college hardwood, Greg McKay, a double-double for Limestone, 16 points, 13 rebounds in a 101-87 win over Emory and Henry. Adriel Martinborough had 15 points for Evangel in a 93-85 win over Benedictine. Malik Joseph just short of a double-double for Newberry, 14 points, 9 boards in an 85-72 loss to Catawba. Blaze Darling had 12 points, 6 rebounds for Warner in a 67-61 loss to Florida College. 11 rebounds and 4 assists for Slippery Rock in an 84-77 loss to Seton Hill. Ahmad Harvey, meantime, 4 points, 6 rebounds for High Point in a 106-69 loss to Charleston Southern. For almost 20 years now, members of the Senior Moments softball at sea team have made a stop here in the Bahamas. And for the first time since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, they were back on our shores, bringing in the majority rule holiday.
We actually started out this on a whim, coming because we had a guy in our group that had pancreatic cancer. So we put together a group to come down and play, and it was about 15 of us then. And it did so much to his morale and everything. That was worth all the trip. And from then it grew. We've had as many as 90 people come in our group. This time we have roughly 60 people.
And hopefully soon we would be able to go over and enjoy their climate.
This one has been really refreshing. You know, we're now allowed to participate again. It's been like a 2-3 year hiatus, and we're now getting back on the field. We're meeting our old friends.
Over the years, we've been accommodating them and making them feel at home. They split the group, and they have 2 teams now. Another group will be coming in next month in February.
I like the part where they like to eat the conch salad and the conch fritters, and that's what they look for.
For the second time in the 3-year history of the Baines and Grandstown Fun Run Walk, the event will be held in honor of former area member of Parliament, Dr. Bernard Nottage. It gets underway bright and early on Saturday at 6 a.m.
The race will start at the Southern Recreational Grounds, Cockburn Street, heading west on Blue Hill Road, heading north onto Dillard Street, heading onto Meeting Street, onto Nassau Street. Heading north on Nassau Street, back to the Southern Recreational Grounds.
That's a look at sports. Check on weather up next.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Of lumber for your DIY projects. Welcome to Capital Lumber, the newest building materials company in the Bahamas. Located on Parkgate Road, Nassau, helping you to maximize your savings on lumber, cement, shingles, tools, and much more. Your one-stop shop for all your building essentials. With free delivery to the mail booth, visit us today. Capital Lumber, build strong.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at whether that area of high pressure across the Bahamas continues to slide towards the east, and that old front boundary in the southeast Bahamas will continue to push back towards the north, and that will lead to some in Florida that will continue to sink towards the southeast. Those two systems will eventually converge on the northwest Bahamas, and that front system will push through late in the afternoon. We'll see some showers developing in the afternoon hours, but once that front goes through, we're going to see some very, very cold temperatures over the weekend as a stream of cold Arctic air is expected to push through the northwest Bahamas. Tonight, though, we are looking at clear skies with a low temperature of a cool 66 degrees. And for your high temperature, that's just ahead of that front, but once that front goes through, we'll see temperatures tumbling. Extended weather forecast on Saturday. Look at your high temperature, 67 degrees, and your low temperature around 61 degrees. But with the wind factor kicking into that wind chill will make things feel pretty much in the 50s. So a very, very cold weekend shaping up for us here in the northwest Bahamas. And as we head into the early part of next week, the skies open up, lots of sunshine, but those temperatures will remain on the chilly side, so you'll have to keep those warm clothing nice and handy. Jimenita?
Covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you for watching and good night.